How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to the So You Missed Church podcast. We are happy to have you here with us today. Happy Monday to you. This is Clint Daly, and I'm hoping that if you missed church this week, or maybe you just didn't go and actually didn't miss it all that much, that we can help you get your week started in a positive way. And for today's show, we're actually going to go back to the Old Testament in the Bible. And we go to a book that many times we kind of skip when we read the Bible. When we read it many times, like we start at Genesis, first book of the Bible, we read about Adam and Eve, we read about Noah and the flood, we get to the origin of the Jewish people, we move on to Exodus, we read about the Jewish people being in slavery in Egypt, and how God was using Moses to deliver his people out of bondage. And then we get to the books of Leviticus and Numbers, and we get a lot of Old Testament law, we get a lot of genealogy, and we kind of check out and say, let's skip forward to Joshua, right? Well, today we're actually going to drill into the book of Leviticus just a little bit, because Moses has led the Israelites out of Egypt, and God is giving them those Jewish rules and laws of how they should live. Well, Moses had a brother named Aaron, and Aaron has a very, let's say, interesting story. I mean, Aaron helped Moses speak in Egypt when Moses struggled. Aaron was the first high priest of Israel. Oh, and by the way, Aaron also helped construct the golden calf that brought some serious consequences to everyone involved. So, his story, needless to say, it's got some highs, it's got some lows. He is undoubtedly human, as we all are. Well, Aaron had 4 children, and 2 of his sons seemed to be headed toward priesthood as well. And then, in Leviticus, his sons offer a sacrifice to God that was not permitted, and that sacrifice was one of fire, and they are killed in that very fire. Well, the book of Leviticus does something a little bit strange after this violent and brutal and unexpected death. Instead of dwelling on the death, or talking about Aaron, who must have been devastated, or talking about maybe his remaining children, or whatever, it goes in a different direction. It says in the very next verse, God told Moses to go talk to Aaron and tell him the instructions for future sacrifices, especially on the Day of Atonement, or what would now be known as Yom Kippur. Now, you may hear that and think, well, that's just a random happening. But there are people, far smarter than I, that have a number of theories, and those theories about that change in the text are interesting. One explanation is that the author wants us to think about death on its own, to consider death before we ever talk about atonement, that we should consider that life is not forever. It can be very fragile. There are a number of explanations for this odd situation, but here is one we might also consider. Maybe what this piece of ancient scripture is telling us is actually how to cope with loss and how to be comforted in our losses in life. Okay, so think about this. Aaron loses his 2 sons. He has to be utterly devastated. Losing a child might be one of the most unnatural things on the planet for us. This is like a bad dream that you can't wake up from. And the next thing that we are told is that Moses comes to the man that just lost 2 kids and says, hey, God told me to tell you about these sacrifices. And I actually think there are a few lessons to be learned from this. The first lesson is that if you have suffered any kind of significant loss, what you must do first is return to life. But that is not our first impulse as humans. We want to close ourselves off. We almost want to put ourselves in the grave with the person that we have lost. And we see this constantly. People feel like they can't go on. We actually have funeral wakes that have a meal. Why? Because we're trying to bring those hurt people back into life. The devastated person doesn't want to eat. They want to go into the grave with the person lost. Hey, you don't want to eat when you're sad. So we try to bring them back. Hey, you have to eat something. We want to bring them back to living. And the first thing God told Moses was go tell Aaron about these sacrifices, bringing him back to life. The second part is that Aaron's job as a priest was doing work for other people. He isn't a priest for himself. He is a priest that is a representation for the people of Israel. Hey, when we suffer serious loss, when we go through a significant loss, there is a certain egotism to loss. And that is when we as humans are in pain, the world becomes about us. Now, you might hear that, and it might put a bad taste in your mouth. But if you don't believe me, wake up one morning in a wonderful mood and stub your toe on the bedpost. In that instant, the entire world means nothing in comparison to my personal pain. That is why when we go through serious pain or serious loss and someone comes up to us and says, hey, are you okay? How many times have we not been able to answer? We can't speak. And herein is another lesson. When we tell others about our pain, we now have an obligation to others. Or when we are forced in times of terrible loss to take care of maybe our children, or our parents, or our siblings, or our friends, it pulls us out of that egotism, out of our own pain, and it forces us to recognize, hey, we still have work to do. We have other people that need us. We have a purpose. Moses went to Aaron and told him, in this horrible time of loss, you still have a purpose. Lastly, I believe this passage teaches us that even if you have gone through an excruciating loss, as Aaron did, you are not suffering alone. There are others who suffer. There are other people out in the world who are struggling. And I believe this is a highly important aspect of this story. It is important to realize that when we grieve, we do not grieve alone. When we go through pain or an illness or a loss, when you talk to other people, sometimes we don't even know that they were going through anything. And then we find out they were dealing with grief too. As humans, we all have to endure pain. And sooner or later, everyone on this planet will go through something that is painful. And what Moses is telling Aaron is you still have a purpose. And that purpose is outside of just you. And that other people are suffering too, and they need your help. And in helping them, that will help you heal too. One final lesson that I want to touch on from this passage in Leviticus. This message to Aaron from Moses. Who does it come from? It comes from God. When we go through these times of loss and debilitating pain, and we feel like the sky is dark and God isn't listening, remember, God is still speaking to us. Moses tells Aaron, God is still speaking to you. He still has a purpose for us every day for us to go on and live. Hey, remember, you can always contact us at youmisschurch@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we want to be a source of encouragement to you. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook or X at You Miss Church, and you can subscribe to the podcast anywhere that podcasts are hosted. You can also follow us on YouTube. I wish you all a very happy Monday, and I hope that you have a great week.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.